Now at 9, Water Gardens hosts their annual Empty Bowls event. Plus, Keltoy Winery puts on a relaxing yoga and wine day. And Labette Community College celebrates turning 100.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Elise Snowy. One person is injured and 2 were taken into custody after a shooting at the Oklahoma State Fair. It happened this Saturday night at the Bennett Event Center. Police say 2 groups got into an altercation when one person got shot. Investigators have not identified who was injured, only that they were taken to the hospital for serious injuries. The incident caused a large police presence in the area. Local and state election officials are working to make sure Missouri seniors and people with disabilities have access to voting locations across the state. Reporter Chris Bryan spoke with a county clerk and the Secretary of State to find out just how accessible voting is for people who need assistance.
Whether you need to use curbside voting, braille, or just need help inside the voting booth, local and state officials say no matter the need, they're working to make sure every vote is counted.
It's great for children and family members to help other family members to remember to vote. You do have to be a little bit careful because in the end analysis, it's their decision.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says if you need assistance, having that family member in the booth with you comes with some restrictions.
To assist you in manipulating the voting machine if you need, or that sort of thing. But the decision about how to vote, what offices to vote for or not vote for, and who or what issues, that is all to be up to the actual registered voter.
In Greene County, when it comes to those voters who need assistance, the county clerk says there are 5 centralized voting locations that are all ADA compliant.
If someone has a regular polling location they can't normally enter without some challenge, a center polling location is ADA accessible. It's easy to get in and out of, and that allows voters to be able to go in there and cast their ballot.
However, the ease of accessibility doesn't end there.
If someone has a problem filling out a regular ballot in terms of being able to fill in the oval, we have the accessible voting equipment, and so what they can do with that is they can use the touch screen to fill out their ballot. It also has an audio option in which they can put on the audio, and there's actually a controller where they can work through it, so if they have visual problems or they're not able to see, they can fill out their ballot that way.
Secretary Ashcroft says call immediately if you have a concern.
If you see something that you think is incorrect, inappropriate at a polling place, be it with your parents or anybody else, you should feel free. And I would hope you would kind of feel a responsibility to call the local election authority, to call us, because you're helping make sure if there is something inappropriate going on, that it doesn't continue and it doesn't happen to anyone else.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for a first look at weather.
We had a beautiful day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine this afternoon, but boy, last night we had quite a bit of rain and shower and thunderstorm activity, some severe weather too. You can see a large area of very heavy rain just to the north and east, and also another swath down to the south. Taking a closer look, you can see around 4 inches near Girard, about 5.5 just south of Lamar, and 6 inches just south of Greenfield, and also some heavy amounts down there south of Mount Vernon. And then further to the south, around 3.6 near Veneta and Nowata, 3.2 in southern Ottawa County, and around 4 inches for our friends down in southern McDonald County as well as northern Benton County. No rain tonight though, but it did help out with the pollen. 2.9 today, which was in the good category. Tomorrow, 6.2, most of that chenopod, ragweed, and now sagebrush is starting to show up in some of the allergens. Your bus stop forecast looks like this. Because of all the rainfall, we're going to have clear skies tonight, light winds, and that means lots of fog. Dense fog tomorrow morning when they head off to school at 59 degrees, and then by afternoon, partly cloudy with a high of 82. Looking down the lane, looks like we're going to have a foggy Monday in the morning. Nice week ahead though, with slightly above normal temperatures and some dry conditions, and I'll tell you all about that in the forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Sam. Folks in Joplin today were able to get us some food while helping those in need. KOAM's Jasmine Knight was there and has more.
The Empty Bowls event is a grassroots fundraiser whose goal is to bring together those who care about helping the less fortunate.
I think the thing that we really love the most about Empty Bowls is it brings the community and the region together. We have over 30 clay artists that have made these bowls. They all have a different style, different glazing patterns, and everyone just enjoys having their special one-of-a-kind bowl.
This year, Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee Shop hosted the event where patrons can purchase a pottery bowl. They are then served a dessert of their choice. Once finished, patrons will take the bowl home to remind them of those who are struggling to find their next meal.
Just our culture here is we're community oriented, and we want to come and partner with different community events. So it's just kind of what our customers, our staff have always been accustomed to.
With over 15 different restaurants and bakers, they all donate their time to whip up some tasty treats for the event, with proceeds going towards organizations that feed the hungry, including Mission Joplin, We Care for the 4 States, Water Gardens, and Hope Kitchen.
And every bowl purchase provides 15 meals to feed the local hunger population.
All bowls are made by regional clay sculptors. There was also a raffle of their various bowls on display.
So the bowls are all microwave and dishwasher safe, which is a huge selling point. It's not something that you can just look at and maybe use it occasionally. We encourage our customers to eat their cereal, eat their popcorn, eat their chili out of their bowls and just enjoy them every day. They're very durable and they're beautiful, one-of-a-kind pieces.
So if you're looking to make a difference, try purchasing a bowl. Reporting in Joplin, Jasmine Knight, KOAM.
For more information about the event, you can go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. The Southeast Kansas Humane Society held a microchip clinic today for our local furry friends. It's a chance for pet owners to get some peace of mind in knowing they'll have a better chance of finding their pets if they go missing. The Humane Society says 1 in 3 pets will go missing in their lifetime. Being able to find a pet's owner through a microchip can make a world of difference toward a reunion.
What it does is it's not like a tracking chip, but if your animal were to get lost and someone were to pick it up and take it to a nearby vet or an animal shelter, they can scan it and it'll come up with the numbers, and they just log those numbers into a website, and then your information instantly pops up to contact you to come get your animal.
It costs $20 per pet at the clinic. Sunday Fun Day was full of relaxation today as Keltoy Winery hosted a yoga and wine session. Attendees learned different ways to process emotions, thoughts, and ease stress through various yoga poses and techniques. The event ended with a community time as a way to get to know other yoga enthusiasts in the area.
Well, it's really a pretty good time for primarily ladies that are in there. And after they get done going through all their exercise, and then they can have a glass of wine afterwards. It seems to fit very well. We've done this for years.
The session today was both family and pet friendly. Pioneer Days kicked off this weekend at the Harbor Village Museum in Grove, Oklahoma. The purpose of the event was to educate the community of pioneer heritage through different activities and demonstrations. Some of those activities included dipping candles, creating old-fashioned toys, and churning butter. It also included musical performances and a variety of food vendors with a pioneer theme.
Pioneer Days is a representation of living history of about 1850. And so we are a replica pioneer village here, and that's what we do, is we present heritage skills during Pioneer Days of the everyday living of that era.
This was an all-day event that began at 9 a.m. and wrapped up around 3 p.m. Labette Community College is celebrating 100 years this weekend. LCC threw a birthday bash to celebrate with the community of Parsons. Guests were invited to come and enjoy free food, a skit based on the community college's history, and hear from guest speakers, including the oldest known living LCC graduate, Kenneth Urban, who graduated in 1947. LCC's president, Mark Watkins, shares just how special celebrating 100 years is for the college.
It's a wonderful time for us to be celebrating our 100th anniversary, 100 years of providing quality learning opportunities for our students to fill jobs in the local area, Southeast Kansas and beyond, and to have the people come back to support us. They've been supportive of us for many generations.
LCC officially turned 100 on September 12th, but will have ongoing celebrations throughout the school year. Later, UPS is using AI to crack down on porch pirates. U.S. employers are expecting to see the largest increase in healthcare costs next year. According to benefit consultants from financial service company Mercer, employers may see the largest surge in medical costs in the last decade in 2024. Analysts predict the cost would jump anywhere from about 5 to 8%. They say the hike could be due to increasing medical inflation and the wider availability of high-priced gene therapies. They said that businesses and insurers are also working to identify less expensive healthcare alternatives for workers. New CDC data suggests obesity is becoming more prevalent in a growing number of states. The report states that in 2022, at least 35% of adults were obese in 22 states, which is a slight increase from the 19 states in 2021. The findings show that obesity was most common in Louisiana, Oklahoma, and West Virginia, where more than 40% of adults were obese. Some of the other states include Delaware, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Alabama, Texas, and several others. If you're loading up in the vegetable aisle, you might be tempted to overlook sweet potatoes. But one nutrition expert from Tuskegee University says these root vegetables come with a lot of health benefits. Fox's Beth Galvin has more.
It may be hard to find a vegetable as good for you and packed with nutrients as the humble sweet potato. And Dr. Adelia Benjamin, professor of food and nutrition sciences at Tuskegee University, says the vitamin-rich, high-fiber powerhouse is a personal favorite.
It's a low-fat food, so it's low in fat. It has vitamins and quite some minerals, including potassium or manganese or iron.
And eating just one sweet potato a day delivers more than 100% of the vitamin A you need.
It's the vitamin that gives us good eyesight for clean, healthy skin.
Sweet potatoes can also help fight inflammation and are good for your gut health and immune system. And they're one of the cheapest vegetables you can buy. That's why Tuskegee University researchers have been studying and developing sweet potatoes as a healthy, inexpensive food source for more than 100 years.
We have created a lot of vegetarian sweet potato products in the lab.
Val Benjamin says Tuskegee has developed sweet potato cereal, sweet potato flour, and sweet potato syrup and starch. So what's the healthiest way to eat a sweet potato? Think baked or grilled with the skin on.
You get more dietary fiber, period, when you consume the skin.
But even if eating the skin is not your thing, Dr. Benjamin says you'll still get plenty of benefits from the rest of the sweet potato.
Meteorologist Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, officials in Georgia are warning about jury duty scams.
Well, as promised, we had severe weather yesterday and a pretty nice Sunday across the area after the rainfall moved out of here. Let's take a look at this morning in Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. And as we go into motion, you can see that as we went through the afternoon, the clouds started to move away and lots of sunshine. And then this evening, we started to have a few clouds coming in from the west, but a pretty sunset across the area. And we're looking at mostly fair conditions right now. We made it up to 83 today after starting out at 65. The averages are 79 and 56. The record's 94, which, by the way, we tied the record yesterday at 90. And look at the rainfall. We're actually above normal for a change, but it's only by 1/100th of an inch of rainfall. And by the end of the month, we'll probably be behind again for the month, as we're not expecting much in the rainfall area this week. And we're behind as far as the year goes as well. Right now, I know this looks like a lot of rain, but it's actually moisture in the atmosphere. And that's because we're getting ready to see some fog developing later on tonight. In fact, looking at the fog tracker, we're going to see visibilities drop down to a mile or less, especially along and south of I-44 and also up to the north and east where all that rain fell last night. So if you're heading out in the morning, just make sure that your beams are on low and take it a little bit extra time. And then by mid-morning, it'll all be gone. Rain chances over the next 36 hours are going to be pretty close to zero, and not just for the next 36 hours, but for several days. And we'll get to that in the forecast. But right now, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Very pleasant out there with northeasterly winds, and 69 degrees for Stockton right now. Dew points are in the 50s, and this is kind of an indication of where we're headed as far as overnight lows. And that's because when you start to see temperatures dropping down to the dew point, you get 100% humidity, and of course you get fog. Now, as we go through the week, the dew points are going to start dropping a little bit and then come back up into the 60s by the time we go toward the latter part of the week. In fact, looking at the upper airflow, we have that storm system that was over us yesterday moving up through the Great Lakes. We're going to be in a northwesterly flow pattern for several days, and that's generally a dry direction, but then a big storm system is going to hit the west coast. That eventually will start to work its way towards us, but it's going to take its slow, sweet time in doing so. Temperatures tonight are going to be dropping down into the 50s with light to northeasterly winds and 60s down to the south. And again, dense fog in some areas, especially areas that got a lot of rainfall last night. Then tomorrow, temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 80s across the area. And then in the Monday night into Tuesday time frame, we're going to see lows in the 50s to around 60 degrees. And then Tuesday afternoon looking pretty nice with temperatures in the low to mid 80s once again. And then as we go into Wednesday morning, southwesterly winds, and so we'll see milder temperatures in the 60s. And over the next 7 days, look at that, not a drop of rain anywhere, all the way until next Wednesday, which is when we finally start to see a 20% chance of showers in the forecast. But hey, let's enjoy the nice weather while we can, shall we?
I think we shall. Looks beautiful to me. Thanks,
me
Sam. Coming up, a shutdown looms.
The deadline to avoid a government shutdown is inching closer, and there's still no deal on the table. I'm David Spunt at the White House. The story coming up.
Officials in Georgia are warning citizens about a scam that's resurfacing, threatening to send you to jail for missing jury duty. Fox's Brittany Edney has more.
A simple phone call is costing some Georgians a lot of money. Scammers are using technology threats and tricks to convince victims they're in trouble with the law.
And a lot of times they will use the actual names of the command staff at the sheriff's office. They'll use names of my staff.
Then comes the fear.
You did not appear for jury duty. There's a warrant out for your arrest. And you need to take care of this right away.
Followed by the con.
People say, oh, well, what can I do? Well, the quickest thing you can do is go to an ATM. Here's the account number and deposit the cash. Or you can go to a local grocery store or drugstore and purchase a green dot card and give us the cash over the phone.
The U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Georgia has also received reports of these fraudulent calls and wants to provide the public with facts regarding jury duty. Firstly, the court will always send a jury summons by U.S. mail. Also, neither the court nor law enforcement will demand payment over the phone. They will never ask for gift cards or cash.
You know, if you get one of these calls, they pressure folks very hard, but just take a deep breath.
When some folks have questioned the scammers, they were met with intimidation tactics.
And they say, well, why don't I just go to the courthouse and take care of this? And they say, well, if you do that, you'll be arrested. And then they really kind of corner people. And you know, most folks are law-abiding and they get scared and don't know what to do.
UPS is going on the offense with new technology to find ways to get packages to you. UPS is now utilizing a program created by its financial services division called Delivery Defense that generates a risk assessment for deliveries using artificial intelligence. The technology analyzes loss patterns and address characteristics to find the best ways to deliver packages and stop porch pirates. Alternate locations could include UPS stores or other access points. One study says 49 million Americans had at least one package stolen in 2022. Up next, the headliner for the Super Bowl has been announced. Usher has announced he'll be headlining the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show. It will be the Grammy Award-winning singer's second performance at the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl 58 will be held at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on Sunday, February 11th. Usher's greatest hits include Yeah, You Don't Have to Call, and Nice and Slow. In a statement, fellow singer Jay-Z said Usher's, quote, remarkable journey has propelled him to one of the grandest stages in the world. I can't wait to see the magic. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, Congress is in a race against time to agree on a spending bill. Less than a week to go until the government shuts down if Congress cannot agree on a spending bill. The impasse sparking an intense debate among House Republicans and putting House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in a precarious position within his party. Fox News correspondent David Spunt has that story.
With just days to go until a potential government shutdown, there's still no clear path forward on a plan to avoid it. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is trying to wrangle opposing forces in his party as he attempts to bring a series of stopgap bills up for debate this week. The Speaker is still facing opposition from a handful of hardline Republicans.
Since July, a few members here have stopped us from bringing these bills up. Every time we try, they keep denying us. You watch, they did it twice this week, stopping us, but now some of them say they will pass it.
The Speaker has floated a 45-day short-term deal with additional funding for the Border Patrol, but it's not clear if that will be enough to sway the remaining holdouts.
Continuing resolutions don't solve the problem. They just kick the can down the road.
I want to fund the government. I'm not pro-shutdown. The reality is this is the only way to liberate ourselves from a bad system.
If Congress can't come to an agreement, a number of federal programs will stop, and so will paychecks for millions of government workers, at a time when many families are already struggling with high inflation rates. Saturday night in Washington, President Biden pushed the GOP to get a deal done.
Funding the government is one of those basic responsibilities of Congress. And it's time for Republicans to start doing the job America elected them to do.
The government is expected to shut down if a deal is not reached by this coming Saturday. At the White House, David Spunt, Fox News.
Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us for another look at the forecast.
All right, thank you very much. Yesterday was quite warm. In fact, we tied the record high at 90 degrees, but today we were a little bit cooler. We dropped down into the 60s this morning, and then this afternoon we were in the low to mid 80s. Radar right now, I know it looks like a lot of rain on the radar, but this is actually moisture developing in the atmosphere right now. And we had a lot of moisture last night being wrung out of the atmosphere. In fact, up to the north and east, there were several inches of rain that fell from around Girard down through Pittsburgh over to Lamar, around 4 inches to 5 inches there, 6 inches in southern Dade County around Greenfield, and also some heavier amounts of rain over there in eastern Lawrence County. And at least it washed out a lot of the pollen. Today it was only 2.9 on the scale. Tomorrow's going to be jumping up there about 6.2, with it being ragweed, chenopod, and now sagebrush is starting to factor in. Because of all the rain and the cool air that we're going to have tonight with clear skies and light winds, we're going to see a lot of patchy, dense fog tomorrow morning. So you send the kids off to school around 59 degrees with foggy conditions. Then tomorrow afternoon, pretty nice. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s, around 82 as they come home from school. Looking down the lane, we're going to have a foggy Monday morning, but a nice week ahead with slightly above normal temperatures and dry conditions. And I'll tell you when the next chance of rain is going to be in the forecast in just a little bit.
President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris delivered speeches at the Black Caucus Foundation's Phoenix Awards dinner in Washington, D.C. yesterday. The president and Harris say they've made and kept promises to Americans through accomplishments. They also say they've continued fights for civil rights, weapon protections, legal abortion, and addressing inequity and diversity. Biden says he's putting in the work because of the caucus, but a government shutdown could have Americans losing gains, according to Biden. There are more and more calls from both sides of the aisle for embattled New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez to step down. On Friday, Menendez was indicted on federal corruption charges, and these are not the first allegations Menendez has faced. An unrelated corruption trial 6 years ago ended in a hung jury. Now federal prosecutors say the senator was involved in a scheme to profit by enriching 3 New Jersey businessmen while protecting the government of Egypt. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has the latest from Washington.
Senator Menendez allegedly provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials and otherwise took steps to secretly aid the government of Egypt.
A search of Senator Menendez and his wife's properties turned up gifts that they had received, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, some of it stuffed into jacket pockets, along with gold bars. A Mercedes was also allegedly provided to the couple. Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss weighed in today.
The charges levied against him are serious, and if proven true, they represent a grave violation of the public trust. Senator Menendez needs to decide in consultation with his constituents in New Jersey whether he can continue to serve ably while under this really significant cloud.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy is among top Democrats in the state, urging Menendez to step down, stating the alleged facts are so serious that they compromise the ability of Senator Menendez to effectively represent the people of our state. Therefore, I'm calling for his immediate resignation. Senator Menendez is not interested in that, writing, "It is not lost on me how quickly some are rushing to judge a Latino and push him out of his seat. I am not going anywhere." Menendez is temporarily stepping aside as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, but he can still serve on the panel. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Still ahead, a new take on a nostalgic game.
Atari is out with a new take on an old console and a new version of an old game to go with it. I'm Eamon Dignam in New York. I've got the details coming up.
Well, we had a beautiful day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine, a drastic contrast to last night at this time with lots of severe weather across the area, but no severe weather tonight. We have mostly fair skies and cool temperatures as well as calm winds, and that's good because that means tonight we're going to drop down to the dew point, which means 1% humidity and lots of fog developing out there, especially in areas where there was quite a bit of rainfall. Right now in Joplin, it's 70 degrees with a 66 dew point, so we only have 4 degrees to go before we have 100% humidity. Right now the visibility is at 10 miles and the wind is currently calm. Radar is all clear, no rain on the radar tonight. And taking a look at the fog tracker, we're going to see that fog developing into the overnight hours. And by morning, we could see visibilities down to 0 down in Nowata, Veneta, and Grove, especially that's where that heavy rain fell, and also up to the north in Nevada and Stockton, where all that rain occurred. That's where the best chance of seeing was some really dense fog in the morning. So put the beams on low and take your time traveling in the morning. Then by mid-morning, it'll all be burning off with lots of sunshine tomorrow. Rain chances are going to be pretty much close to 0 for the next 36 hours. Temperatures tonight are very nice, 68 in Stockton, 69 in Nevada, 67 up in Iola, pick out your hometown, 71 in Miami, 73 for our friends down in Nowata. Dew points, they're up there, generally in the upper 50s to lower 60s, and again, that's because of all that rain that we had over the last 24 hours. And we're looking at a dry period coming up because the storm system last night is now over Minnesota, pulling away from us. We're going to be into a ridge of high pressure for several days, but a very powerful storm system is going to be affecting the northwest with an atmospheric river, but it's going to take its time to get here, and it's going to take several days. And so as a result, we're going to have a nice stretch of some fall-like weather. Temperatures tonight are going to be dropping down into the upper 50s and lower 60s, again with patchy dense fog. And then as we head through the afternoon hours, we'll see low to mid 80s across the area with light north winds. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, we're going to see some patchy fog once again, especially areas to the south with lows in the 50s and lower 60s. And then as we head into Tuesday afternoon, another nice day. Temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s with light and variable winds with high pressure right on top. Then as we go into Wednesday morning, southerly winds, and so we'll see milder temperatures with lows in the 60s across the area. And over the next 7 days, I think you're going to like the forecast, Elise, with temperatures in the low to mid 80s and lows in the 60s with not a drop of rain all the way until next Wednesday. And then it's only a 20% chance of showers at that point. But then we're going to start going into a more wet pattern after that. But let's enjoy the nice weather while we can.
You couldn't ask for a more perfect
That's
week.
That's right.
Thanks, Sam. Coming up in sports, hear what the quarterback and head coach have to say about Pittsburgh State's win on Saturday. Plus, the Kansas City Chiefs had a special guest attend their game this afternoon. We'll have the highlights from all the action next in sports.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas stay undefeated after their 33-14 win on Saturday night. Pittsburgh State got off to a little bit of a slow start, but that didn't stop the team from making any changes.
No adjustments, just self-inflicted wounds in that first half.
we would drive the ball down the field really well and then kind of stall out in the red zone. So that's just stuff that we were doing to kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. So we just need to clean that stuff up, and we will. Credit to Cam. He's worked extremely hard. I think today he had his first catch and first touchdown, so that's pretty awesome. But credit to my O-line, give me some time, and Cam working and getting open there.
It's a testament to our guys just hanging in there and continue to fight and continue to play hard and play together. Yeah, it's good. It's always great to be back here, and it's great to let our guys play in front of the home crowd and get the results that you look for.
Week 3 of the NFL rolls on, and the Kansas City Chiefs return to Arrowhead Stadium. Usually these two teams don't have bad blood between them, but it seemed like, well, the Chiefs were ready for it. Look who made the trip to Arrowhead Stadium. It's Taylor Swift. She came to see her new boyfriend Travis Kelce play, so I guess that makes them official, right? Well, anyhow, back to the game. First quarter, Patrick Mahomes, a little shovel pass to Jerick McKinnon. Touchdown Chiefs, 7-0 Kansas City. Late second quarter now, 14-0 Chiefs. Mahomes to McKinnon again. Second of the day, Kansas City's up 21-0. 2 minutes later, the Chiefs had the ball back on their own goal, or on the opponent's goal line, and they go up 24-0 after Mahomes hands off to Isaiah Pacheco. Kansas City leads 31-0 at halftime. In the third quarter now, Mahomes to Travis Kelce, who finds a blank space in the end zone for the touchdown. That's one way to impress your new girlfriend. Taylor Swift is loving it. Kansas City demolishes the Chicago Bears 41-10.
3 touchdowns for you today. Listen, you're a guy that can deal with some pressure. Forget the pressure from Kansas City Chiefs fans. Do you realize how much pressure there was on you today from the Swifties to get Travis Kelce a touchdown with Taylor in the house today?
Yeah, I heard she was in the house.
Did you feel it? Did you feel the pressure, Patrick?
I felt a little bit of pressure. And so I knew I had to get it to Trav. And of course, it's on a route that Travis, he does his own thing and just makes up a route and I throw it to him. So I think he wanted to get in the end zone just as much as all the Swifties wanted him to.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having fun with us.
Elsewhere in the NFL, Vikings and Chargers, 2 0-2 teams looking to avoid the 0-3 start. Fourth quarter, Chargers lead 21-17. Kirk Cousins finds Justin Jefferson, who runs away from everybody to score the touchdown to give the Vikings a 24-21 lead. Later in the fourth, Justin Herbert and the Chargers look to respond. This pass is tipped by the defender and falls into the hands of Josh Palmer. Touchdown Chargers. They lead it 28-24. Under 2 minutes to go now. Chargers looking to go for it, 4th and 1, deep in their own territory. Vikings make the stop on the run. It's a turnover on downs. Great field position for Minnesota now. So then, with 12 seconds left in the game, clock is running, no timeouts. 1st and goal for the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is going to throw, and it's intercepted by former Oklahoma Sooner Kenneth Murray. The Chargers survive a scare as they go on to win a close game over the Minnesota Vikings 28-24. Other action happening around the AFC West on Sunday afternoon. The Denver Broncos visit the Miami Dolphins, and, well, it was a long day for Broncos country. Dolphins win 70-20. Miami scores 70 points in this game. That's the most points ever scored in the game in Dolphins franchise history. Then tonight, the Las Vegas Raiders host the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last check in this one, it's the Steelers who lead the Raiders in the third quarter, 23-7. Like many of you, you probably even given up on the Kansas City Royals this season, but all of a sudden, Royals have quietly won 9 of their last 10 games entering Sunday. Kansas City wins again this afternoon. The Royals sweep the Houston Astros with a 6-5 win on Sunday, so don't look now, but the Royals have won 6 straight games. Kansas City's back on the road this Tuesday at Detroit. St. Louis Cardinals, meanwhile, are just trying to limp through the finish line, just like the Royals. Only one more week left in the MLB regular season. Cardinals lose this one on Sunday afternoon to the San Diego Padres, 12-2. That'll be a sports. We'll be right back right after this.
Atari is bringing back its classic video game console with a few new high-tech updates. Fox's Eamon Dignam has more in this edition of our Fox on Game series.
Retro gamers, get your black and brown joystick, the one with the big red button, ready for the Atari 2600 Plus. It's a new take on an old console, working off of cartridges.
Even if you were to find your Atari 2600, it's virtually impossible to get it to work on a non-CRT television. This solves all of that.
Atari CEO Wade Rosen says the 2600 Plus is different than its Atari BCS console, another recent addition to the lineup. So if you're looking for that nostalgia of the original, you need to know the difference.
A lot of modern Atari-esque games are on the VCS, and a lot of people use it for PC functionality as well because it has all of those options. The 2600 Plus is for people who want to play the original carts.
Along with these old games come some new ones built in the blocky style of the originals, like Comp 2, a new take on Pong.
Outside of a few special moves, it's really a single button navigation system. So it's addition through subtraction, trying to get the game down to its bare minimum.
Unfortunately, for the science fans out there, none of the levels pay homage to Pong's start as an attraction made from an oscilloscope at the Brookhaven National Laboratory. If you want to hear this story and more, check out the Fox on Tech podcast every weekend. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Up next, the latest box office numbers. A pair of new movies open across the U.S. this weekend, but how did they fare against The Nun 2? Rick Damagella has the countdown.
Barbie held on to 5th place this weekend, adding $3.2 million to her domestic box office haul, which now stands at $630.5 million. The Equalizer 3 fell from 3rd to 4th place on ticket sales of $4.7 million, while A Haunting in Venice slipped to 3rd with $6.3 million.
I see you like to play with knives. Well, I ain't playing no more.
The 4th Expendables movie launched in 2nd place with $8.3 million, well below Variety's pundits' predictions of a $15 million debut.
Sophie, what happened? I think there's something here.
For the 3rd straight weekend, The Nun 2 scared off its competitors, but just barely, finishing only $100,000 ahead of Expendables. The fright flick added $8.4 million to its now $69.2 million box office total. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of a porcupine working out at an Ohio zoo. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us part of your night.